It's 11:32 on the 1st of October. There is the famous chair that hasn't budged for about 4 or 5 days. So in Tralee, County Kerry, we're supposed to be living in a democracy, and there's a little issue with avaricious, ambitious acquisitions of individuals that are of repeat offences of various laws. They've broken very, very serious codes of conduct. My hat is not annoying me. There have been codes of behaviour disrespected, and there have been women disrespected since 2006 in this community. And there's been hate crime in very many different shapes and forms, and there have been huge, awful, dishonourable acts against birth, giving, childbirth, and matrimony between men and women. So I'm heterosexual. I'm a women's rights advocate, and I'm a mother, and I gave life to a boy, and that was in 2015. Now, as I'm a mother, I'm a little bit qualified to talk about my anatomy. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, but I know my body, and I know the laws of the Hippocratic Oath that have been disrespected and damaged by individuals that have been a part of NEFIT, by individuals that have been exploiting from me, and that have hopes to acquire from my body. Now, I'm a spiritual light being. Now, we all have our own spiritual identity, and there are individuals that think it's a candy store. Unfortunately, this isn't a candy store. This is a human being with a spiritual humanitarian purpose. I'm a mother. I gave birth to a baby boy. I'm a life giver, and I own beautiful ancestral land, and I'm of the earth. So regardless of my faith or creed, which is nobody else's business, there's a little issue about people misunderstanding or misreading any text or context incorrectly, and not interpreting the reality of circumstances. Now, it's very dubious to make assertions or claims when maybe clouded by avarice or greed or hatred or any of the deadly sins. So they say it's a man's world, but you know what? Women give birth to men, and there are people that are clouded sometimes in their judgments and not really qualified in their assertions, and how they mistreat or disrespect situations, and that's as much as applicable to women as it is to any other individual. Women can be quite hurtful and malicious in their offences. Like, I have experienced the first-hand knowledge of women that have been highly jealous, highly destructive in their jealousy, and they have caused demonstrative damage in society, acquiring from me. Unfortunately, what they've been acquiring hasn't been serving them successfully, and hasn't actually been safely acquired. They've broken a few laws, and they've made a few assertions and assumptions that are unsafe. So to those that are disrespecting the body of a woman that has endured and experienced life. I'm 42 years of age. I've been around the block. I'm very qualified in my assertions, and I'm very impartial. And I try to be considerate of everyone, and most importantly, considerate of myself and my own judgments and my own opinions and my own perspectives, which we're all entitled to. So there are people being cheeky, breaking the law. As I've said, it's not just the constitutional law. There's the humanitarian law, and there are the sacred laws. Now, I'm not a candy store. I'm not someone that you can come across and just decide, I want that from her and I'll take that, thanks, and we won't bother looking after our responsibilities, obligations and duties. Unfortunately, there's a cycle and a process, and it's not just give and take. People don't just acquire and take from where they like, when they like, or how they feel like they intend on doing so. As I've mentioned, there are people that think they're going to help themselves to my work and my earnings and my wealth. Unfortunately, as I said, I've been around a long time. I'm 42 years of age, and I'm not an aspirant. I'm what would you say? I'm evolved, I suppose, in my own qualifications. I've reached my targets. I have been quite successful, and I have honoured my own protection laws, and I've honoured the laws for other human beings as well. And this is from a spiritual context and an ancestral context, as well as a realistic legal context. I'm within the law. I have a clean track record. I've honoured the keep your tongue, actions, behaviours and words all clean, you know what I mean? Some people are up for defamation and slander and blasphemy. Well, that's an issue, that's a problem. So as a mother that gave birth to a boy, I have issues and concerns for individuals suffering from mental health issues that aren't serving the greater good or honouring the greater good or the betterment or progress that I have initiated in society. Now, I don't like people being hurt, and I don't like people making opinions that aren't qualified or first-hand. So there are people that are only making problems in society, and they're not actually working with solutions, and they're presumptuous, very presumptuous about what they're going to help themselves to. Now, it's quite dangerous for any doctor to have damaged my health or disrespected my health. As I've mentioned, I'm qualified. I have a very important role. I have a status. I have titles, etc. And it's not really safe for doctors to dishonour their Hippocratic oath, thinking they're above the law. And that applies to all human beings. So there's a problem after starting in Ireland since my child was unlawfully separated from me in 2017. And as a consequence, I have brought about worldwide change. Now, that's been damaged in Tralee, County Kerry by people that aren't respecting society. So I'm going to make this very clear. As a mother that gave birth to a boy, of a very clean track record of land and laws, legislation, etc., there are people causing problems to my royal purpose and my sacred purpose that has served society and that has helped the progress and betterment of society. There are people being presumptuous with other people's faith, and there are people discussing matters that they're not qualified to be discussing. So it'd be really helpful if people had a reality check and a good cup of coffee, and they might have the common decency. If they don't have the basics, they might try a bit of common decency. They haven't honoured protocol, and they haven't honoured obligations, so they might just attempt a little bit of common sense as well and approach this properly, because since they have been offending me, and since they have offended my beautiful boy that I gave birth to, they have only incurred problems, as they've only been doing since 2006, when they were speaking out loud about a lot of matters that they have soiled. So I've had to repair the damages of these people's problem making. I have provided solutions, and there are people living off me and not paying their way. And there are others of naivete, disrespecting faith and family, and speaking of matters that they think they're going to help themselves to. So I'm really concerned about people being unprofessional, incompetent or rude, and not observing a high standard in conduct or behaviour. So as a humanitarian, as a pacifist of legislation 2019 worldwide, I might add, those that are being of a clouded judgment might honour a few basic principles. And if they can't, I think they need to reassess progress that has happened that they're benefiting from.